Well, Chad Schnitz is our guest on Automotive Repair News today. He is the VP of TOPDON. What's up, Chad?
I'm just glad to be here. Good to be with you.
Put you on the spot. It's okay if you say no. So just putting that out there. Did you listen to my podcast about my reaction to vision?
That has not come across my desk yet, so I'm still working on that
Okay.
one.
All right. Well, when you do, you will hear me pat you on the back.
Oh, well, I
So
appreciate that.
just letting
So,
you know.
what did I do right that deserved a pat on the back?
Well, you were only with me for 10 minutes. But you did a lot of things right in that 10 minutes. I can't account or testify to what you did outside of those 10 minutes in vision, but with the 10 minutes with me, you were like Jesus. You were awesome.
Well,
Um,
I wouldn't quite go that far. Basically, I did some introductions because
you
I've been in the
you
industry
did,
for a
and I
long
and
time.
I and I said, I was on the show floor at Vision for a couple hours and just shaking hands, meeting people, and that kind of thing. And I shook yours, and then you proceeded to help me shake three others. And I thought the way you did that, I used you as an example. And I said, this industry, I've been in it for about a year and I've met some amazing people. And a lot of the people in the industry will go over and beyond for someone they don't even know. And I said, here's a great example. So, Chad with Top Don, we met and he and I connected, and you were like, I've got to introduce you to other people. So you walked me around the show floor, you introduced me to people, and that was awesome. But it just struck me that there's a lot of people like you in this industry, and it's fantastic. And so anyway, you got name dropped on that episode that came out last week. So there you go. And I just thank you eye to eye here on the video call and this podcast. But that really stood out to me. And at first you didn't know who I was, but you made it intentional. You had struck up conversation, and you had no clue who you were talking to. You didn't have to do that. So thank you.
You're very welcome. And you're right. This industry is full of a lot of great people. And it's a small industry, right? We see people that will move around, but people never leave. They may be at a different booth or wearing a different shirt the next time you see them,
Right.
but this is a pretty tight knit group, and I see the value that you bring to the industry, and I see the value that you can bring to some of my friends in the industry. So uh, I'm happy to make those introductions when it's appropriate, because we get people that come to us all the time. Just, hey, what can I get from you that's free? And then there's people that say, hey, how can I help you grow?
Right.
And that's the kind of person I am. I want to help you grow. I want to help the industry grow, and I want the people to know that there are options out there and solutions out there that you might not know about.
Well, if you didn't know Chad and you didn't know the people behind the scenes at Top Dawn, now you do. They're real people, and man, great people, in my opinion. So there you go. But so it was also interesting because you and I connected. I said, I want to get on your press release thing, and I want to get you on the show at some point. Just talk about upcoming tools and other newsworthy items at Top Dawn. But then I get back from Kansas City and I get a press release from the Auto Care Association, and you were voted onto the board. And I was like, oh, well, that's newsworthy. So, how long has this been in the works?
Yeah. So basically, I was invited to apply to the board, and this is the board for tool and equipment at the Auto Care Association.
Yes.
And this is an opportunity for people in the industry to say, hey, here's a challenge, and we need to find a solution. Let's find it together. And this board is made up of competitors of mine. It is made up of other people in the industry. It is made up of people that are media in the industry as well. So we kind of have this really broad spectrum of people. And I was invited, and I applied the previous year, and I was not invited to be on the board that year. So I applied again this year, and I was selected. So it's absolutely an honor to be able to do this and to work with this great team of people, to be able to get our ideas out there and try and provide some solutions, maybe for challenges that people in the industry didn't even realize we had. And one of those is right to repair, and that's one of the things that I'm passionate about, and things that I think that I can help with. So that's kind of one of those that I have taken on to be able to try and push that forward and let the industry know, hey, what's going on with right to repair and why is it important?
Well, it's funny you bring that up because I was about to ask, okay, so I don't know a ton about the boards with like the term lengths with ACA. Is it a year? You kind of alluded to that.
Yeah, so it's a 3 year, and
3 years.
yeah, so it's 3 years total, and then after that you can become a director of the board, so you can have some extra time there if you wanted to.
Right.
And this is all voluntary, so if they don't like me or I don't like them, it's something that I can back out of. But I intend to stay the whole 3 years. And a lot of times with anything, it kind of takes you some time to get used to the other people and hey, this is the process. So I think a 3 year term is very good because it gives us time to get a feel for what's going on and to make the
Yeah.
best of the time we have there.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I thought a year was a little too short, so that's good. 3 years.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you in your term, what things are you excited about? You brought up right to repair, so we certainly can talk about that. But when you think about, hey, I'd love to have conversations about this, right to repair, it seems like it's on the top of your priority list. But what other things do you want to have conversations about?
Yeah. So just because of being in the industry so long and seeing the talent in the industry, it is how do we keep that going? Who's next up? Who's the next generation? And how do we reach out to that generation to get into this profession? Yeah, I'm on the tool and equipment board, but we also have ties into uh, the schools and how do we get students excited? How do we get more females in the profession? How do we get women in auto care built up? So those are some of the things that are on my radar. And um, and really for me, it's who's up next, right? Who's the next generation that's going to be the trainers and instructors at Vision? And we see the talent pool at Vision is changing age ranges. I don't know if you noticed this or not, but the instructors, the silver hair guys are slowly starting to fade into the background. You got another young generation coming up,
Right.
and being that new instructor and teaching the new things. So that is very exciting for me as well.
So right to repair, what's your thoughts on that?
So the right to repair is a difficult one because it gets thrown around a lot. And my view on right to repair is, do I have access to the information and knowledge I need to be able to fix a car properly the first time without having to chase an OE or take it to a dealer? So, where I live in Indiana, if I was to buy a BMW, my closest dealership to me is 2.5 hours away. So I live way outside of Indianapolis. So for me to get to that BMW dealer, that's a challenge. And we need to be able, as an industry, to have access to that information to be able to do that repair or that emissions upgrade or replace that computer or whatever it may be. So I think that the industry has this thought of, hey, it's done. We have right to repair because we have all data or Mitchell or Identifix. We have the information. But is it all the information? I think that as technicians, we get frustrated that, hey, I get to this step and then I don't have that download that I can fix this vehicle with. And that's kind of where we're stepping in at the auto care tool and equipment is what's that last 10% we're missing? How can we work with the OEs to get that information? How can we work with ETI? How can we work with NASTIF to be able to get that information into the hands of the technician so they can make a proper repair and get that customer back on the road?
Yeah. So I mean, I had Lisa Fauché on at Vision. We talked about right to repair, so people can go listen to that
Absolutely amazing.
episode if
And I
you.
will refer everything to Lisa. She is the person that has the most understanding of what right to repair is and what we're doing. So
Oh, she's
she is the
fantastic.
authority. She trumps everything I say.
She is. She's fantastic. And so if you're listening to this podcast and you have not listened to that episode and you're interested about right to repair, then go back like 5 episodes and listen to the one with Lisa Fauché because she is fantastic. She is very knowledgeable and is the authority on that stuff. So I'm glad I got to pull her aside for like 10 minutes and have that conversation. But it is important. I just the things that I've pondered and heard from Lisa and others about the unwillingness to budge from the OEMs and the manufacturers, it, when this happens, because I believe it's going to happen, and Lisa told me because I thought it was going to be happening this year, but she said no, probably next year, probably full term of Congress. Hope for the best, expect the worst on that. But I even when it happens, there's still going to be because to me, manufacturers and the aftermarket need to have a good relationship. I mean, they need each other. My goodness, do they need each other? And so I don't want this to cause friction like that doesn't need to happen, you know? Um, so I just hope that when this gets passed and manufacturers do have to release that data, that there's common ground that both can find to help each other out because we need each other. You know, we got to sort out our differences and move forward together. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not like we're asking for the secret sauce. We're just asking for, hey, I have a repair. This is what I need to be able to finish that repair and move forward. Because essentially, we're taking care of their customer is really what it's all about. Us as a technician, we're taking care of their customer for them, and we want that to be a good experience for their customer as well. Because if someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, Chad, what do you think about buying this car?" I'm like, "Whoa." Don't do it. They're the hardest ones to work on. You can't find parts for them. You can't find any information. Don't buy that car because I can't fix it.
Hmm.
You would think that you want a manufacturer to have a totally opposite reaction. Oh yes, go buy that car because I can fix it. I can find parts for it. They're very supportive. If I need help, they're a phone call away. Um, we're partners in that. In again, taking care of the customer.
That's a good thought. I haven't thought about that before, and that's true. Uh, so we'll get to Top Dawn in a second. What else? So you mentioned women in auto care. You know, trying to improve the younger generation. Uh, do you want to hit on those a little more in detail, or other things on your mind that are
Well,
happening
so
in the industry that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so on the women in auto care piece of it, Missy Stevens at the Auto Care Association is doing a fantastic job of getting the communications out to the ladies that are going to school for automotive repair, and us as a committee. How can we help with that? What do we have in our toolbox that we can help this next generation with? And sometimes it's easy as us at TopDon donating diagnostic tools so they can start building their toolbox for these scholarship winners. And sometimes it's just helping them out by getting them in the right place at the right time. Hey, they need a
Yeah.
connection. They're trying to get started in an industry in North Carolina. Hey, I know somebody, a shop that needs that. So those are kind of things that we try and help out with. We're helping out with some schools and programs that are maybe a little deficient. Hey, we got budget cuts, and these are the things that we really need. Oh, well, I know a guy that can help you out with that. So making those connections from ours in the industry.
Okay. What about Top Dawn? So what's going on there? What tools are coming out that people need to know about?
Yeah, so TopDon is in an extreme growth state. We're relatively new to the industry. I still look at us as a new and up and comer. We consider ourselves pretty young in this business, and we're looking at different ways to provide solutions. One of those is in the thermal imaging side. Um, the thermal imaging that we have been able to develop and create and release has gotten the cost to an affordable place where a technician can afford it. Instead of that $1,500 thermal imaging, now they can get it for $250, $260. So now we're giving tools to the industry that they have a lot more access to be able to have to help diagnose these harder to figure out cars. On the diagnostic side, it's that information at the fingertips. And our motto has always been a tool for every toolbox and every price point. So we want to make sure that the technician that is just getting started, hey, maybe you can't afford that $10,000 scan tool. Maybe we need to help you with that and get you into a scan tool that you can afford maybe in the $1,000 range. So we have lots of stuff coming down the pipeline that we'll probably release in July, and then another big release coming up in like at Apex and SEMA. So definitely keep an eye on Top Don and what we're doing. We're growing, we're expanding our product line, and we're doing things a little bit different than most of the industry has seen.
So, how long have you been in the industry?
So I started my automotive education in '98, I would say.
Okay.
And I've been in the industry in some way, shape, or form since then. I've done everything from changing the oil to doing the engine swaps to running a shop to selling the parts to selling the tools to now building the tools. So 20, 20 plus years.
So you've kind of been around, and you know people, and you're on the board of tool and equipment at the ACA now. So I mean, you've got a pretty good pulse of where this industry is at. But also, I think you probably have perspective of where it needs to be, if you think it needs to improve. Where are we at? What do we need to do to improve if we need to?
I think the biggest thing we need to improve is perception. I would say that 99% of the technicians out there are doing the right thing and want to help the customer and want to take care of them. But there's still the perception that we're just here to get the highest ticket average we can, and we're going to sell you a bunch of stuff that you don't need.
Yeah.
And if we can get that perception fixed of, hey, we are professionals. I'm not just a grease monkey. Um, we're here to service and take care of your car, and we deserve to get paid for that. I think that that's the biggest thing that we need to improve in the industry. And I think that the training that is offered at places like Vision is vital to that, because people have to invest in themselves to see what's coming up next.
How does that happen though? I mean, that's a conversation that people have a lot, and I think you're right. I mean, my perspective before I got into the industry was that it's not now that I'm in there, but my wife just yesterday was talking to her dad because he looked at the sticker on his dash, noticed he was 4,000 over on an oil change, and they had the conversation. I was listening in, was not involved in it, but they had the conversation about where to go to get his oil changed. And they were talking about, oh, well, don't go to this place because they charge too much. And I don't know if you actually have to get your oil changed until like 6,000 miles over because, I mean, they tell you that you're supposed to get it here, but do you really? They're just trying to get money out of you. Like, they had that conversation and I had to interject. I was like, I couldn't keep my mouth shut, but I was like, guys, they give you these intervals because why? They're professionals. They know when you need to get your oil changed, and they charge because they have tools, they have training, they have things that they've done. Like my wife works in TV news. She went to school for 4 years and paid thousands of dollars to get that degree. So she needs to be compensated properly, right? I don't think she does, but she should. And I, that's something that everybody thinks of. It all comes down to price. And so what do you do? Because you do need to raise price, right? But that almost plays into the perception of the industry. It's like it doesn't, jive.
Yeah, and I think that it's a hard piece to educate, because what is the media that we can use to educate people on that? It's very limited. So I give a lot of credit to people like Paul Danner and Oz Mechanic and these guys that are doing the YouTube that really show, hey, this is what I had to do to figure out your car. You realize that it took me 4 hours to diagnose this, and look at the $10,000 worth of tools that I used to get here. Um, I think that that gives a lot of credibility to what we're doing, and a lot of credibility to the trade if people are out there seeking that information.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people, before I do anything or buy anything, I usually YouTube it and see what somebody else has said or reviewed. So hopefully the industry is doing that as a consumer. And in your example, hey, yeah, my oil change is going to be $100 because I drive an Audi, or I drive a BMW. That's just how much it costs to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's educating the customer. It's
Yes.
educating customer. And that's going to take a long time because you can tell the customer all they want, or you can try to all you want, but it really comes down to, does the customer want to learn? Does the customer want to change their mind about the industry? And that's probably going to take a long, long time. But little things that we're talking about over time will help. So I'm with you. I hope it does change. But
Yeah, and hopefully the technicians in the industry change as well, right? Let's take pride in our appearance when people see us in a shop. Let's take the greasy rag out of our back pocket. Let's wear clean uniforms as we repair these cars. So that way people go, wow, this is a stand-up facility. And this is where I want to take my car to. If you see a guy working on your car in a white lab coat, okay, that's extreme. I get it. But you're like, wow, they really care about my car and what they're giving me.
right. Well, Chad, thanks for coming on, and congratulations on being selected for the board. Excited for you, and we'll catch up soon, and we'll talk about some more stuff.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. I'll come on anytime.
Comment. Let me know your thoughts about the industry and the conversation that Chad and I just had. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, remember that you can comment and be involved in the conversation as well. So thanks for listening to this episode of Automotive Repair News Today. Hey, if you're still here, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Automotive Repair News Today. If you enjoyed the show, please take a moment, like, share, subscribe to the podcast. It'll help us out a big deal and help grow the show. And you know what? While you're at it, slap on a review too if you feel like this content is helpful for the industry. Don't forget to follow us on all your favorite social media platforms. We're on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. Stay connected and be the first to know about new episodes, behind-the-scene content, and more. And until next time, let's make the industry better together.